I like trashy anime, and I'm not afraid to say that. I have said that this season has been filled with nothing but garbage anime before, however, that doesn't mean that I'm not enjoying them. I don't know what it is, but even if I recognize that a series is bad, I will probably still like it unless I'm bored out of my mind. Whether it be an isekai power fantasy or a stupid trashy rom-com, I always find something that I can take away from these series to enjoy. I probably just like anime too much, and that's why it's hard for me to find fault in a lot of these series. I have watched a lot of anime in my time, and most of it I would classify as garbage. However, on that note, I would also say that most of it I have really enjoyed. When it comes to isekai power fantasy series, I like the formula. Even though most of these series are carbon copies of each other, I really like the formula presented. It just makes for an entertaining series even if it's really bad. And as for the trashy rom-coms, I like the stupidity in a lot of them. These series can be so absurd with how they portray romance, and the comedy in a lot of them is some of the dumbest, most cringe shit I have ever watched a lot of the time, and yet I keep coming back for more. There is just something in my brain that keeps me coming back for more despite the fact that this show is terrible. I would like to say that I'm in the minority in this mindset, but I really don't know. I'm probably not, to be honest. Some people are probably just not as open about it as I am, which is totally fine. So, would I recommend most of these series? Oh god, no, definitely not. But do I really enjoy them? Definitely yes. I want to talk more in depth about these series and explain a little bit of why I like them, but before I do that, it would be really awesome if you could leave a like on the video and subscribe to the channel. I make new anime, manga, and webtoon content every single week on a variety of different series and topics. The first of these series that I want to talk about is one that is very well known throughout the community for being almost universally hated by everyone, and that series is Sword Art Online, or SAO. Now look, I know this series isn't great for a lot of different reasons, but that doesn't take away from my enjoyment of this series. Every time more stuff for the series comes out, I am more than ready to watch and enjoy the hell out of it as well. There's just something about this series that I find makes it really fun to watch. The story is pretty bland for the most part, with it just being stuff like Kirito hopping into a game and beating strong players to either saving someone or to do some weird mission for the company he works for. The only season story that I actually liked quite a bit was the Alicization story arc, and that's only because it was a breath of fresh air. Throughout most of the season, Kirito either doesn't have his memories or he's in this state of shock and is doing nothing, so it focuses on the better characters more. This season also had a lot of awesome battles that had a lot more stakes than in normal SAO fights. All of this stuff made this season way more interesting and fun than the previous ones. SAO has two things really going for it, and one of those things is definitely the animation. Even the original season, which came out over a decade ago now, still holds up and looks great. The animation in this series has always been top notch and has only gotten better with the more material that releases in this franchise. The fights always look insane and build upon the stakes, making the series way more fun to watch and enjoy. The other thing that SAO does really well is its music. The music in SAO is always good, whether it be the OPs or any of the OSTs. For some reason, the music is always highly emotional and fits very well with whatever the setting is. SAO has masterful music and it knows how to use it well. That is something you can definitely never take away from this franchise. One thing you can take away from this franchise though is its characters. There are some good characters in SAO, but if you're a part of the established cast, then you're probably not great. Besides just a few, but Kirito is definitely not one of those. He is a bland, archetypal protagonist that really has nothing going for him personality-wise. Asuna was a really cool character, and still kinda is, but she has a lot of moments that ruin her character and turn her from this badass to this damsel in distress, and I'm not just referring to the entirety of the Alfheim arc, there's some other scenes just like that as well. And then the rest of the characters, once their arcs are over with, are just basically irrelevant side characters who make a few appearances but don't really provide much to the overall story. But despite all of that, I still love SAO and will always continue to watch everything it releases. If I were to name an anime that is objectively really bad but I enjoyed the hell out of it anyway, it would be Strike the Blood. I have watched every single season of this anime. Some people might not even know that there are more than 2 seasons because the final 2 seasons never came out legally and never got officially translated, so they're pretty difficult to find and watch. This anime is like really bad. The story makes no sense, the characters are shit, the animation is subpar, and the music is pretty generic in terms of anime music. But for some reason, I absolutely love this anime. It was just really entertaining from start to finish despite everything about this anime being so bad. I never felt bored watching this anime, mostly because I was laughing about how absurd some of this shit in the anime could actually be. But if there was one thing that I can praise this anime for, it's that the later seasons were fun to hunt down. Nowadays they're not super hard to hunt down, but when season 3 and the final season were coming out, it was a whole different story. This anime at least knew what it was and never strayed from that path, making it a lot better, because it never tried to do something that it wasn't and instead just stayed in its lane. I would absolutely never recommend this anime to anyone, and yet I really enjoyed this anime and would probably watch it again if I cared enough. If there is one thing I have never publicly revealed before, it is that I watch idol anime and that I am not ashamed, in particular one specific franchise known as Love Live. These series are just your typical idol anime, but I have yet to find a season of this series that I don't enjoy. Love Live has unironically gotten me emotional while watching the series. The way that the stories of each season are told really gets you to root for the main group of the girls to achieve their dreams, which brings me to another point. The characters in these series are usually all pretty good. They each have depth to them throughout the run of their series. The fact that there are always so many characters in these series and each one of them feels like an integral part of the group makes the series feel pretty unique. The animation in the series is okay, it's not the greatest of all time. The performances are pretty much always done in CG, which is fine as I'm not someone that hates CG as long as it looks good, and in this case it does. But the animation almost never does anything special to distinguish itself from other series. The music is pretty good. I would never listen to it outside of the anime, but it's pretty good. I like it for the most part, and it makes the series feel more alive. As I'm not just referring to the performance music, but just the music in general, it's all pretty good. This is a series I would only really recommend if you like idol anime, and for some reason haven't watched it. Otherwise, I would say it's a pretty hard pass. Shit anime are the forefront of what makes anime anime. Without these types of series, the incredible ones would just never stand out. But you can also find a lot of enjoyment out of these series, if nothing else from laughing at how bad they are. But it also helps you to broaden your horizons and lets you experience all spectrums of anime from good to bad to why the hell am I watching this, which I feel like is a really good experience to have for any medium of entertainment.